Alright, so this is gonna be my set 4.5 comp list. I'm just gonna let you know like what is gonna be the core of each comp, what chosens will work with the comp, best in slot items for the carries, who's gonna be the carry. Hopefully this will help you guys out. I want to preface first that when you look at the law chest builders, the positioning is not 100% correct. Obviously you want to position depending on who you're going to be facing, so don't position your units exactly like I have them in the builders because I just put them like anywhere. I separated the comps into two categories. First category is new comps. For new comps, basically the core is composed of new champions and new traits. The second category is traditional comps. Traditional comps, the core is basically composed of same units from set 4 or the same traits from set 4, and they're usually pretty similar in playstyles. The first comp is going to be Slayer plus Friends. This comp is pretty hard to play because there's no set 7 or 8 champions that you're playing. The core is basically you're playing 3 Slayer plus any frontline plus any utility. You're basically playing 3 Slayers. Usually it's going to be Olaf, Tryndamere plus another Slayer. Usually it's Pyke, and if you high roll, it's Samira. Depending on your items and what you hit, that's going to be your carry. You can play Olaf carry, you can play Tryndamere carry, and you can play Samira carry. It's mostly going to be Olaf carry or Tryndamere carry because you're probably not going to hit Samira 2 at level 8. Other units like Aatrox, Sedge, Morgana, Yuumi, and Janna are droppable. You can just play whatever you hit. But usually you want to play Sedge and Aatrox because it's the best frontline duo right now. Depending on the lobby, you want to play Mystic. You can play Yuumi, Janna, you can replace Janna for Zilean, and then Morgana is just an all-around good utility unit right now. Best in slot for Olaf, it's subject to change, and I think it's subjective, but Deathblade Runon's GA is really good on Olaf. You can use RC, you can use Guinsoo's, BT, you can even stack tank items on Olaf, it's not that bad. Warmogs has worked, Giant Slayer, Last Whisper, Titans is okay. If you're playing Tryndamere carry, Tryndamere, I think best in slot is probably Titans, IE, and GA, because when Tryndamere spins, it's all auto attacks, so he actually stacks Titans really fast. And what Tryndamere does is Tryndamere usually spins to the backline and one-shots the carry. So you actually need to build some damage on him. But other items work like Guinsoo's, BT, Runon's is good. So it's pretty, I think it's pretty flexible, but basically any like AD or attack speed item works on Olaf and Tryndamere. For Samira, it's pretty much the same. Titans is good, IE, GS, Runon's, BT, basically any attack speed or AD items. Basically, this is the comp. Like if you're playing Tryndamere carry, you could drop you could drop Morgana and play a Lee Sin for Duelist, so to buff the Tryndamere. But yeah, basically this comp is just 3 Slayers. Samira you probably won't hit, so it's Tryndamere, Olaf, and Pyke, and you just fill in the rest either with Mystic, Vanguard, Xayah, Morgana. It can be Adept, maybe it can be Aurelia, Shen. It just depends on what you hit. But usually it's Olaf carry. Olaf carry is probably the most consistent one because Tryndamere, sometimes he might spin to the back and not hit the carry and just like get bursted before he does anything. The next comp is Executioner plus Friends. Executioner plus Friends is pretty similar to the Slayer plus Friends. It uses like 3 core units and then you just fill in the rest with whatever you hit. The Executioner comp looks something like this. Your core units are going to be the Executioners, obviously, Kindred, Kayle, and Xayah. You don't need an Executioner chosen for this comp, but if you do hit an Executioner chosen, it's obviously the best variation of this comp. So you play these 3 plus whatever else you hit. Usually you can play, Aurelia, Shen for Adept. You can play Yone. You can play Yone if you hit. You can play Morgana. You can play Yuumi. You fill it up with Mystic. You can play 4 Divine. Like if you hit a Divine chosen, you can play Lee Sin plus Jax for 4 Divine. So this comp is similar to the Slayer Friends comp where it's not a set 7-8 units. But it's basically you're playing 3 units and you're just building around it. So in order to decide whether you're gonna go Kayle or Xayah carry, it kind of depends on your items. But they kind of use similar items. Kayle best in slot, I think it's rapid RFC, Guinsoo's, and QSS. For Xayah, I think you only really need Hodge, and you can just replace the other 2 with whatever. You can play Deathblade, Guinsoo's, GA, BT, JG works. Xayah is more flexible because it can actually use AP items as well, but AD items are usually better. You decide on what carry you want to play depending on your items and depending on what you hit. Like if you roll down, you hit a Kayle 2, obviously you've been playing Kayle 2 chose. Kindred can hold Zeke's or items. It can hold Zeke's. It can hold Ice Cream Cones. You could also play Kindred carry. If you end up hitting Kindred Executioners, you take it always, so you can hit 4 Executioners. You can stack Kindred, maybe go for Kindred 3 with like Hodge, blue buff, etc. Other than Shen, Morgana, and Aurelia, like usually you want to play Yuumi for Spirit already, so then you're gonna probably just want to play 1 extra unit for Mystic. But this frontline could also be Aatrox, Sejuani, Vanguard frontline. You can play a Zilean for Mystic. You can also play Janna and then just put in Morgana. Morgana is usually a really good unit to put in like every comp because she has built-in Dazzler now. She provides a lot of utility for your team. You can not play Morgana, you can play a Xayah. You're just playing around your 3 Executioners and you're just rounding out your comp. depending on what you hit. For the Chosens, you don't need Executioner Chosen. If you hit like a Yuumi Chosen, you can play it. If you hit a Mystic Chosen, if you hit Aatrox, Sejuani Chosen, Morgana Chosen, you can play any of those. The next comp is Fabled. Fabled is basically you're playing 3 Fabled and you're playing Mystic Vanguards, depending on what Chosen you have. Like if you hit Mystic Chosen, you can go for 4 Mystic, 4 Vanguard. If you hit a Vanguard Chosen, you can go for 6 Vanguard, 2 Mystic. It also just depends on what you hit. But this comp is generally easier to play compared to Executioner and Slayers because it basically has a set number of units. You're playing 3 Fabled plus Mystic Vanguard units. The builder looks like this. So let's say you hit a Vanguard Chosen, you play this board for 6 Vanguard and 3 Fabled. I think best in slot Nico. I think Gunblade is really, really good on Nico because she procs 3 times. So she will proc 3 Gunblade ticks. And I think you need JG or else you're going to be lacking damage in this comp. And then GA is also good so she doesn't get bursted. But she can also use Blue Buff, Hodge, Rabadons. She's very similar to Ahri. This comp is very similar to the set 4 Ahri comp. Ice Cream Cones on Yuumi. You're just playing Vanguard Mystics. In this comp though, you usually want to stack Nautilus because Nautilus with Fabled is actually really, really OP. So you want to stack tank items on Nautilus, Sunfire Cape, etc. Let's say you hit a Mystic Chosen, you probably just drop Braum here and you play another Mystic. Pretty easy, 4 Mystic, 4 Vanguard. Sunfire Cape is really good in this comp because it's another source of damage for your tanks. The next comp is the Elderwood Xayah comp. Usually it's 6 Elderwood plus 3 Mage plus whatever. Personally, this is my favorite comp for set 4.5. I've been enjoying it a lot and I don't see anyone playing it, but I think it's really, really good. It utilizes Xayah and ASOL perfectly. This is the comp for 6 Elderwood Xayah ASOL carry. Basically, you're playing 6 Elderwood, this is your core, and this comp is generally easier to play because you have set units. These are your set units, you're playing in all games, so it's kind of easier when you roll down to know what to pick up. So the comp is ASOL, Lulu, Veigar, Xayah, Rakan, and Ornn. This is going to be your 6 Elderwoods. If you have Elderwood Chosen, this is your board. So at level 7 and 8, you can actually play like Aatrox for Vanguard, and then here you can play whatever. You can play Sejuani, you can play Azir, you can play Morgana, you can play whatever. This is if you hit Elderwood Chosen. Let's say you don't hit Elderwood Chosen. You will play, you have to play Maokai or Nunu, but it isn't even that bad. This is what your level 8 looks like. For Chosens, you can, Xayah Chosen's obviously really good. Rakan, Elderwood Chosen works. Keeper Chosen works too, because if you get Keeper Chosen, you can basically place Aatrox, and you can play another Keeper for 4 Keepers. But yeah, any Elderwood Chosen works, and ASOL Chosen also works. Items, Xayah, I talked about it previously, but you want Hodge, and you can have GA is good, Guinsoo's good, Deathblade, etc. You put all the AP items on ASOL, all the mana items on ASOL, and you stack Lulu with aura items. And this comp is really good because with the keeper positioning, a lot of people will clump up towards the middle here and ASOL will get a good angle on everyone. If you get Elderwood Spat, this comp is especially OP because you can put Elderwood Spat on ASOL. It allows you to drop Maokai and Nunu and you can play stronger units. The next comp is going to be Nasus Siphoner Reroll. I would only play this comp if you hit a Siphoner Nasus, because if you hit a Divine Nasus, you can't get 4 Siphoners in unless you hit Swain. And if you don't have 4 Siphoners in late game, you're going to start falling off. So I would probably only play this with Siphoner Nasus. You could play this if you hit Divine Nasus, but you just have to pray that you hit Swain late game. So this is what the Nasus Siphoner reroll comp looks like. It's pretty self-explanatory as well. Nasus, Vladimir, and Morgana as your 4 Siphoners, assuming that you have Siphoner chosen. You're just rounding out your comp with whatever you hit. I like to play Aurelia for Divine. Since you're playing Aurelia, it's good to just play Shen and Yone. And you can play Yuumi for Mystic. Obviously, you can replace Yuumi for Zilean for Mystic. You can play you can replace Aurelia with Lee Sin. You can play Sejuani, Aatrox. You can play 4 Divine, level 9. You can play Ornn, but your core is going to be 4 Siphoners. Once you hit Swain, you can just play Swain, maybe take out Vladimir. For the items, I like to have Bramble Declaw on Nasus, so he'll literally never die, but he's also pretty flexible. You can, like, Titans is good on him. If you have Titans, you can put Jeweled Gauntlet on him, which is a pretty good combo. Gunblade is okay on him, you know, QSS. I think best in slot is definitely Declaw, Bramble, +1. The first traditional comp is 6 Cultist. So for the Cultist comp, you usually play this comp when you get a Cultist chosen, and you're usually gonna get the Cultist chosen at stage 2. And so this comp is really good for top 4 because you're gonna have a really strong stage 2 and stage 3. Because the reason is it's really easy to hit 6 Cultists now because of Vladimir. There's an extra 2 cost chosen now. But basically, when you're playing 6 Cultists, your carry is gonna be Kalista. On Kalista, it's same thing as set 4. You want RFC, Runons, Guinsoo's, basically any attack speed or AD items gun her. Any aura items you put on Sivir. For this comp, the strategy is you have 3 Cultists stage 2, and then at 3-2 at level 6, you want to roll down for 6 Cultists, and which helps you stabilize stage 3. At 4-1 level 7, you want to roll down to hit your pairs, And then at level 8, you want to roll down to put in like strong units like Aatrox, Sag, Morgana, etc. This comp does fall off at level 8, but that's why it's a really good top 4 comp, because you're going to be really healthy because you played a good stage 2, stage 3. If you end up not hitting Kalista items, really good Kalista items, or not hitting Kalista 2, I would actually pivot out of this 6 cultist. I would sell the cultist at level 8 and pivot to another board. The next comp is the Diana reroll comp. So instead of Moonlight, it's going to be Spirit Diana now. Basically, you play the 6 sins variation if you hit Sin Diana chosen. So basically, this is the Diana 6 sins 4 spirit comp, Diana reroll comp. This comp is really strong. If you hit Diana chosen, you should just play this comp. It's a free top 4 right now. Diana's probably going to get nerfed. But items is very similar to set 4 Diana, but it's like the Sin version. So you want Runons, i.e. Titans is very good. But it's actually, she's actually very flexible. You can use Gunblade, you can use Rabadons, you can use Ionic Spark, you can use, you know, Jeweled Gauntlet's good. You can even go tank, you can go like Declaw, Sunfire. It's actually just like really flexible. So basically, you're slow rolling for Diana 3, and then you just push levels for Assassins and 4 Spirit. Pretty simple. There's nothing else to say about this comp. If you do end up not hitting the Spirit chosen instead of Assassin, obviously you want to drop either AKALI or Katarina so you'll stay at 4 sins, and then you can drop either Teemo or Kindred to stay at 4 spirit, and then you can just fill this out with other champions, right? You can play Janna for Enlightened Mystic, you can play Morgana, basically just round out your board. But this is the core. You can play Morgana, you can play Sedge, Aatrox. The next comp is the Enlightened Talon comp. I'm not gonna talk too much about this comp because this is literally the exact same comp as set 4 Talon comp, except there's no more Lux, so you're gonna be playing another Divine unit in place of Lux. So usually you can play Lee Sin, Jax, you can play a Nasus for Siphoner with Morgana, you can play Swain with Morgana. If you hit an Assassin chosen, you can play another Assassin for 4 Assassins. This comp is basically the same comp as set 4, so I'm not gonna get too much into it. If you want to know how to play this comp, you should just Google, or it's in like a million websites probably by now. The next comp is Ninjas. This is the Ninja Z comp. It's also very similar to the set 4 Z comp, except instead of Shade, you have Slayer now. I would only recommend playing this if you get Slayer Z, because it's kind of awkward to play a 3rd Slayer if you don't have Slayer chosen. You can also play with Slayer Pike chosen, which is really good, but basically it's the same comp, same items on Z, RFC, Runons, QSS, Infinite Zeeks. This is the AKALI Ninja comp. This is very similar to also the set 4 AKALI carry that was picking up near the end of the set. Instead of carrying Zed, you're going to be carrying AKALI. Usually you want to be playing this if you hit an Assassin chosen like Assassin Pike or a Assassin AKALI chosen. Assassin slot, blue buff, i.e. RFC, aura items on, you know, you can use Zeeks and Ice Cronus as well. This comp, I'm not going to talk too much with this comp either because it's very similar to the set 4 comp. If you have any questions, you should just look on LOL Chess. I'm sure there's infinite guides out there for this comp. The next comp is Spirit Zed. So Spirit Zed, it's also pretty self-explanatory, but basically you're playing Zed carry, 3 Slayer Zed carry with 4 Spirits to buff his attack speed. Items are very similar to set 4. There's nothing much to say about this. I would only play this comp if you hit Slayer Zed chosen, because I don't think this comp is that consistent if you don't have chosen Zed. You could maybe play this comp if you hit a Spirit chosen, but I don't think this comp is that good. Next comp is Yasuo Reroll. The Yasuo Reroll comp is also extremely similar to the set 4 Yasuo Reroll comp, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. The new unit is Tryndamere, so you can play Tryndamere late game. But basically, you know, you can drop 6 duelists to 4 duelists for better units. Like you can play Morgana, Swain for Siphoner. Your win con is still gonna be Yone and Lee Sin. But yeah, it's basically the same comp, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it. The next comp is gonna be Katarina carry. Katarina carry, there's 3 variants. The first variant is the 6 Warlord version. The second variant is the 6 Keeper version. And then the last variant is the 6 Fortune variant. So we're going to go over each one by one. The 6 Warlord variant, you can play this whenever you get a Warlord chosen. But basically you're playing Katarina carry. Best in slot is same as set 4. Gunblade, QSS, Titans. But it's very flexible. You can have like Jeweled Gauntlet. You can have IE. You can have Hodge, etc. But this is probably the best in slot. You're playing Pike for the Assassin buff. And then you're just rounding out with 6 Warlords. Pretty simple. 6 Warlords got buffed, so this comp is actually really strong at level 8. You can probably go 9 with this comp and just sell the Warlord chosen and get a Legendary chosen. If you hit Azir, you can replace Garen for Azir. Now you get Keeper, but Azir is pretty high roll to hit at 8. This is the 6 Keeper variation of Katarina carry. You're basically playing this. You can play this when you hit any Keeper chosen, but basically you're playing 6 Keeper plus Pike. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you don't have Azir though, you're going to be playing Elise for 6 Keepers, and then that means you can't play Aatrox, and I would play a random Warlord. Vi is usually really good. You play a random Warlord to buff Katarina with the Warlord buff. There's different variations to this comp. Like you can probably drop 2 keepers and play better units. This comp is basically like keeper plus Katarina carry basically. And the last variation is gonna be the 6 fortune variation of Katarina carry. So I would go, if you get a fortune chosen stage 2, like Tom Kench or Annie, I would try to go for this comp. What's gonna end up happening is that you're gonna be playing 3 fortune. You're probably gonna be loose streaking stage 2, and in stage 3, probably after carousel stage 3-5, you're gonna probably go 7 and just roll down to 0 gold to try to cash out. Most likely you hit a Katarina too. I like to stack Katarina to try to cash out. I don't like stacking Darius because I don't feel like Darius is that consistent. I think Katarina is way better to cash out than Darius. But basically, once you cash out, you're probably gonna get a ton of gold, a ton of Nikos, and then you can try to fit in 6 fortune and just snowball out of control. Once you hit Sedge, you can play 6 fortune, but basically you're playing Katarina Pike plus 6 fortune, and you want to play a random Warlord to buff. You want to play 2 Warlords to buff your Katarina. Usually for the Warlords, I play Jarvan and Tryndamere. Tryndamere is good because it gives you 3 Slayer because you're gonna be playing Pike and Darius anyways. But the good thing about this comp is that when you get to level 8 and you end up getting a Samira, like you're gonna get a lot of Nikos for 6 fortune. So the good thing about this comp is that when you go level 8, if you happen to hit a Samira, it's like a free top 2 because you'll probably be able to double Nico or Nico Samira. You'll have Samira 2, and then this comp is just like busted. You'll just like snowball out of control. You start out with 3 fortune Katarina, and you just slowly put in 6 fortune. You know, once you cash out with the proper econ and items and stuff. The last comp I want to talk about is the Mage reroll comp. So I would only go this comp if I get a Mage chosen, whether it's Annie, Lulu, or Veigar. I would probably not play this comp if I get a TF or Brand chosen. If I do get a TF Brand Mage chosen, I'll probably re-roll for Brand 3 or TF3 and then play this comp. But normally you want to re-roll at level 6 or level 7. You want to get Annie 3, Lulu 3, and Veigar 3. Veigar's gonna be your main carry. ASOL is gonna be your secondary carry. You just round out your comp with the rest of the units. You can play a Dragon Soul, you can play an Elderwood, you can play Mystics, you can play Vanguards, etc. This comp is really good because tank Annie with 7 mage or 5 mage is nearly unkillable. So that's why it's really good. And if you have Lulu 3, Annie 3, Veigar 3, this comp becomes really, really good. But the problem is, you know, getting those to 3 stars. Alright, thank you guys for watching. This is going to be my set 4.5 comps video. If there's any other comps that I missed that you think is actually viable, leave them in the comments below. Hopefully this will help you guys out when rank launched on the 21st. And I'll see you guys next time.